off the shelf. Hi everyone, I'm Elizabeth and I'm excited to share a deep dive into a book with you today. This is Rescue of the Bounty, Disaster and Survival in Superstorm Sandy. And this is part of a series called the True Rescue series. It's about real life rescues that have happened over history. And if you're a fan of the I Survived series, you might really enjoy checking this out. So, just a little bit of information. The Bounty was a replica of a British naval ship, and this one was created for the movie Mutiny on the Bounty, and it's a very accurate replica of a British naval ship from the 1700s. And ever since it was created for the movie, it sailed around, and people went to go see it, and it was very kind of beloved around the United States. And in 2012, when Hurricane Sandy was going to hit Connecticut, it was at port in Connecticut, and the captain decided that it would be safer to try to take it south down to Florida because it was predicted that Connecticut was going to get hit very hard by the hurricane. So they set out to sail to Florida to try to beat the hurricane. And as you can see by this picture, it is not a spoiler to say that they did not make it. And they had to have an epic Coast Guard rescue. Several Coast Guard planes had to come and try to rescue the captain and crew from the ship as it was sinking. So I just want to read a little portion of this. This is our deep dive after all. This is when the ship has started to have a lot of problems. They're pretty sure that it's going to sink, but they're trying to hold on until morning because it's easier to do a rescue in the daylight than it is in the dark. So this says, midnight came and Bounty's entire crew was gathered on the deck. The water was 6 feet or more above where the engine room sole boards, now floating, once made a floor. Giant lethal waves sloshed within the fore and aft crew quarters and all the other compartments at the lowest level. Everywhere below, sole boards slammed into bulkheads unrestrained. On the weather deck, conditions were worse. Bounty heeled steeply to starboard, her deck slick, her bow bucking up and plunging down. There was no need to be on deck. There were no sails to man, no forward progress to threaten a collision. Everything that could be salvaged from the compartments below the 'tween deck had already been brought up and was piled in heaps. Everyone on board Bounty at this point was exhausted. Sleeping had been difficult to impossible for more than 24 hours, and the situation wasn't going to improve. The captain gave instructions for everyone who had no duties to get some rest. Almost everyone aboard knew that Bounty was doomed. The question was how long it could stay afloat. The Coast Guard had informed Bounty that there were no ships closer than 8 hours away. The old ship was on its own, and the water kept rising. So, very exciting rescue about to take place. And I am really excited about this True Rescue series. I also wanted to just mention some of the other books in the series in case you're interested. There is one called Into the Blizzard, Heroism at Sea During the Great Blizzard of 1978. Attacked at Sea, a true World War II story of a family's fight for survival. And In Harm's Way, the sinking of the USS Indianapolis and the extraordinary story of its survivors. So I am really recommending this series. I'm excited about this one. The Bounty is a just fascinating ship, and the story itself is just very interesting. So if that sounded good to you, make sure you check this out at AADL.
Hi, I'm Christopher, and I'm here to bring you some wonderfully creepy stories for this time of year. But don't worry, nothing is too scary. Up first, we have Let the Monster Out by Chad Lucas. Bones Malone has moved with his mom and brother to a small town and is having trouble fitting in. He is one of the only black kids in town. He is a great pitcher on the baseball team, but sometimes has trouble focusing, and he just can't get along with the bully, Tony Spezio, the kid whose family babysits his brother. Then people in town begin changing, turning AZL. That's Alien Zombie Librarian, named after some of the first people in town to be not quite themselves. "The librarians have gone haywire," he says at one point, and you know I'm a sucker for books that have libraries in them. There are a lot more mysteries here. Someone goes missing, a mysterious notebook falls into Bones and his new best friend's lap, the kids start having shared dreams, and all of this may have something to do with a new product by FluxCore that dominates the town. Up next, we've got Wretched Water Park by Kiersten White. This is the first book in the Sinister Summer series. It's about three siblings, Theo, Alexandra, and Will, short for Wilhelmina, and Rodrigo, who is Wilhelmina's phone. The kids are spending the summer with Aunt Sophronia Sinister, but strangely enough, they can't remember how they got there, and Aunt Sophronia is quite a hoot, even forgetting that children need to eat. They decide to get a week pass at the local water park. When they get there, it's not quite what they expected. It's almost empty and doesn't quite look normal. There are rides like Abandon Hope, Infinite Plunge, Mortal Coil, and the wave pool titled The Cold, Unknowable Sea. Someone approaches them and asks, "Have you started looking yet?" Soon they befriend Edgar and begin the hunt for the missing Mr. Widow. Along the way, they find the Cabazoleum, not quite a cabana and not quite a mausoleum, and continue their hunt for churros. Finally, we have Children of the Quicksands by Afua Traore. Simi has to spend the summer with her grandmother, who she has never met. She's never even heard of her before. And the grandmother lives in a jungle in Nigeria, a place of spirits, not Lagos, the big city where Simi is from. Simi has a lot to learn about life in the village, how to clean rice, how to make a fire, how to stay safe, and above all about the gods and goddesses of the village. Now, there's a big family secret that her mom and grandmother have been keeping from her, which lies at the heart of the story between the generations. Another big player in the story is the strange lake near her grandmother's house that is said to swallow up children and keep them forever. When another child is taken by the lake, the town decides to fill it in forever. Simi is sent away from the village, but is haunted by her dreams and decides to go back and confront the lake one more time. Well, there you have 3 wonderfully creepy but not so scary stories for this time of year. Enjoy.
Hi there, my name is Ellie and I love everything scary or spooky or mysterious or unexplainable. So I grabbed a bunch of nonfiction titles that kind of address some of those things. The first one I grabbed is The Big Book of Monsters, and this one is by Hal Johnson and Tim Sievert. This one's really cool because it's literary monsters and it goes into the monster and how they were depicted in the famous piece of literature. And then it goes into a beyond the book portion, which goes into the author's inspiration behind writing about the particular monster, or just like what would be on the monster's bookshelf, stuff like that. So, for example, we have Frankenstein's monster here, and then further in, it talks about Frankenstein's monster, which is not Frankenstein. Frankenstein's the doctor, but we all know that. And then it goes beyond the book. What's on the monster's bookshelf? What does the monster look like? Did you know that Frankenstein was written on a dare? Mary Shelley wrote it. She was dared to. Or we have the Headless Horseman from The Legend of Sleepy Hollow is in here. We have the Humbaba, which is from the Epic of Gilgamesh. So this is full of different literary creatures and monsters, which is pretty fun to read about. Or if you just wanted something more mysterious, we have Strange But True, 10 of the World's Greatest Mysteries Explained. This one is by Catherine Hullock and illustrated by Gordy Wright. This one's really cool. It goes into a bunch of different mysteries, but some of them are alien encounters. It goes into the Bermuda Triangle, and it goes into my favorite, Bigfoot. I love cryptids, so Bigfoot is exciting. But this is a collection of mysteries, but if you wanted just more information on one particular mystery, we have books like that too at AADL. For example, the Bermuda Triangle was featured in here. I also grabbed a book just about the Bermuda Triangle. If you just wanted more information, like this. So I do like getting very specific information books, but I always do think it's fun to peruse through ones that are more collection-like, because then you just learn more about what's out there, or what's not out there, or what is out there. Remains to be seen. Thanks for listening.
Thanks so much for tuning in to this episode of Off the Shelf, where we talk about awesome books for awesome people in grades 3 through 5. Just a short recap. This week, Ellie shared with us some awesome nonfiction about spooky, creepy things like the monsters that you might remember from some books that you've heard of, and Strange But True Mysteries Explained, like the Bermuda Triangle or alien encounters. Christopher shared with us some fiction titles, Don't Let the Monster Out, where people turn into aliens, zombies, or librarians, and what is going on in that town. He also shared with us Wretched Water Park, where some kids go to stay with their aunt but aren't sure how they got there, and there's a wild, very strange water park involved. That's the first in a series. I'm excited to see what comes next. He also mentioned Children of the Quicksands, which is set in rural Nigeria. And I shared this Rescue of the Bounty in the series True Rescue, about the rescue of the captain and crew of the ship Bounty when it went down in Hurricane Sandy. So hopefully you found some things that sounded good to you from this episode, and don't forget to place them on hold or come into any AADL location to see if they're available. Thanks for watching.